There we go. Right, so let's dive straight into it. So, would love to learn a little bit more about you guys specifically. So, we'll start off with the big question: who do you support?
Derby County supporter. Quite the story at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a Coventry fan, so that's where I'm from. So we're proper football fans here.
That's good. I'm a Bolton Wanderers fan, so I know the struggle of
all the administration stuff.
Yeah. I've been through that. It's not an easy one.
Yeah, find a good win the other day against Sunderland. Was it 6-0?
Yeah, massive win.
2 weeks ago, that wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you get the manager fired as well for that?
Did he get the sack?
Yeah, he got the sack after that game.
Oh well. I mean, you would do if you lose 6-0 to Bolton. So
they were like third in the league, though.
Sack. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, yeah.
I'm a Villa fan.
And
then, I'm a Villa fan, like you, James. I'm pretty much from Cov, but turned to the dark side and.
Oh, how come? Why?
I was born in Nuneaton, which is obviously kind of like in between. And all my brothers just grew up supporting Villa, so yeah, Villa it was. All my friends are Cov fans, and so I get a lot of stick, but it is what it is.
So then
not an Eton borough, though. No.
Nah, I mean I've been to the borough quite a few times, especially growing up, but they're not so good anymore.
Yeah, then we'll move on. What's your favourite goal? Favourite goal of all time?
I have to say the Jack Marriott goal against Leeds United playoff semi-final. That's a classic.
Yeah.
Just of how everything built up all season to that one game and the turnaround. It's just,
yeah. Mine was Rooney's bicycle kick, and there's no good reason for that. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Bicycle kicks are, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It came off his shin though, right?
I think so. I'm just looking at
it was like part foot, part shin. Either way, it's still a great
make
goal.
it even better.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
My favourite goal ever. See, I was actually there for the Sergio Roberto goal in the Barcelona PSG game. Joe, the comeback when they were 4-0 down in the first leg.
Oh yeah.
So this is the story. The night before, we were watching the Champions League, thinking, can Barca turn it around tomorrow night? And my mate just went, should we go? We were like, so we said fuck it, and we went. And yeah, so we were there in the stadium for that comeback from Barcelona. So when Sergio Roberto scored, the roof just came off the place. So it was next level. So that's my personal favourite anyway.
It's class. I see the Barcelona scarf as well in the background.
Yes, that's from the game, yeah.
Big glory supporter.
Yeah.
I think mine would be David Beckham's free kick against Greece. Just because it was just pandemonium when that free kick went in.
Oh yeah.
And that celebration was just iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we'll jump into more about the Footium game now. So we have a lot of American viewers on the channel, and in America, the concepts of promotion and relegation and things like that are pretty. They're not
foreign.
Yeah. So just like a brief rundown of how Footium is going to work. You've obviously had your club sale already, so we're on to the secondary market if you want to get involved. But yeah, just like the basic premise for Footium, if you would.
Yeah. So Footium is a NFT football management game. So you own your own NFT football club. You have to manage a squad of players in order to try and move up to the higher divisions, which will then, in theory, result in bigger prize money and bigger prizes. And that's the general overview of the game. This concept of promotion and relegation. So how it's going to start is we've decided there's going to be 8 divisions. in Footium. And if you own a Footium club, you already know what division you're going to be in and what league you're going to be in. And there's going to be promotion and relegation between each league. So the top team from each league will get promoted to the one above. The bottom three from a league will get relegated to the 2 feeder leagues. And then second place, they're going to go into a playoff. Second and third place will go into a playoff. So yeah, that's in general the league structure. There'll also be a few cup competitions as well, like the Champions Cup, which is going to be the equivalent of the cross-chain Champions League when we do eventually expand to other blockchains. Each blockchain is going to work like its own country in a way. It's going to have its own football league with its own cup competitions. And the best from all of those are going to play against each other in this, the Champions Cup.
Yeah. So it's going to be the Champions League, essentially, the pinnacle of the game, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Played at the big Footium National Stadium as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Excited for that. How do you guys see things like stadiums play out within the game? I understand you can upgrade parts of your stadium and other parts of your club. How will that work in the game?
Yeah, we haven't fleshed out all of the details on that yet, but how it's going to work is, you'll be able to upgrade your stadium. So yeah, we've at the moment all of the clubs spawn with like a pseudo randomly generated stadium, and as we get closer to launch, that will become more and more realistic as we build out all of the different components in that. But yeah, one of our ideas going forwards is that a larger stadium will mean larger support for your team, more morale for the players, and so it's going to be advantageous going forwards, building up your stadium, building it bigger. But yeah, who doesn't want a big stadium? So
exactly, yeah.
Is that going to be the big incentive for having a big stadium then? Is it going to provide the morale to the players, things like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think from what I can see, it looks very similar to Football Manager, the computer game. Is that a game that you guys have played a lot? Are you big Football Manager guys?
So I was a big fan of Football Manager Mobile. I never really got into the desktop one, but that was partly my inspiration for creating Footium because I enjoyed playing this game. Naturally, I like games where you can play against other real people. And so, yeah, Football Manager Mobile wasn't really satisfying enough. And going back to sort of how Footium came to be, it was this idea that we wanted an MMO football management game. And we found that for that, a big part of the actual football player, the footballing game is an in-game economy. So you can buy and sell players. Even when you get bored of the game, you sell your football club or you buy a football club to play the game. And there wasn't really any compelling games out there with that real economy. And so, coming across NFTs, coming across the blockchain, you can put two together. We've got this decentralized football management game, MMO football management game, stick it together with the blockchain, and all of a sudden now you have those two missing pieces have been put together. And I think it's going to create a really compelling, realistic simulation. What Football Manager is missing when you try and make it a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of a project like this is it will grow over time as well. So while it may come out with not all the pieces from Football Manager and like aspects from that game, you can continuously build all these amazing features onto a game that and make it become so. The reason I'm saying this is things like an assistant manager role and other roles within a club that would naturally exist in a real world football club. You can't translate that over to the Football Manager game or other games that exist. Whereas when you have it on the blockchain with economies and things like that, you can see very easily how that could also be translated into a game where you do have an actual economy rather than a fake economy.
Yeah, I think like giving people property rights, like letting people truly own a club, can allow the game to scale in like a different way. I think it's like these are the games where you're just playing on your own.
Yeah.
Because you're like crowdsourcing loads of people's energy into like one system, and as you said, you can kind of like segment these clubs into all these different kind of functions. And you have like these real clubs where you have loads, like hundreds of people running the operations of a real life club. And then in like it's potentially like a game like ours, then as the game becomes more complex, a lot of time when you play Football Manager, you delegate a lot of your decision making to your coach because it's just like so intense to perform every operation, to like do all the scouting, to choose exactly the training schedule. Then you can kind of like delegate these functions. You as the owner, you can just like have this division of labor.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really interesting part of the game.
Yeah, because me like playing Football Manager, like I think Football Manager 2012, I played like close to like 2,000 hours or something outrageous in 1 year. So I can imagine with like Footium, I know it's impressive, right? Imagine like with Footium, it's going to be equally as intense. So it's going to be really handy and useful being able to, you know, split up your time and have these kind of assistant managers and people to help kind of do these roles for your club. It's going to be really cool.
I think it will become important as well because obviously it's on the blockchain and these assets within the game are worth real money. So it does become valuable to have extra people on board to take over certain aspects of running a club like you would in real life. So I think when you talk about gaming becoming like play to earn gaming or transitioning into real life, this just fits seamlessly in my opinion. And yeah, I think it's going to be huge. So moving on a little bit into the game mechanics. So when you get your club, what do you get when you buy a club?
Yeah. So at the moment, you get a pseudo-randomly generated stadium. Has a unique stadium. Stadium has a name. You can see it in 3D. That's going to improve over time as we build out the game. You get the badge. You get some history and lore about the club, which again is going to improve with time. Got very brief descriptions at the moment for all the clubs. And yeah, at the moment, that's what you get. As the game launches, each club will have its own academy. The academy is the means by which the players are produced within the game. So you'll start with 20 players, and every season you'll be able to sign 10 new players from your academy.
Awesome. And then what is the process of signing a player from the academy? How will that work?
It's pretty much the same as like minting an NFT. There'll be a button, you'll be able to click it. Yeah. There'll be a small fee associated with that, and that's going to feed back into the prize pools.
Awesome. Okay, so if, for instance, you didn't want to, if you looked at your academy and thought these players are useless, what happens to those players?
So what will happen is, as the game progresses, you don't even have to play those players. They can just sit there, do nothing. And then after a certain age, those players become free agents. So anybody could pick them up. But in theory, the attributes of those players are going to start declining because they're not training anymore.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think that's another part that I'd love to touch on is how important is it to be active and not only playing the game, but also playing specific players?
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be quite important, you know, like squad, like rotating your players in your team, making sure that they're all getting adequate game time for their own development. We're going to be adding training sessions as well, so you'll be able to set up training sessions to be able to train certain players. You will have NFT coaches as well to help develop players, whether you want to improve your defending, your attacking. You'll be able to employ certain coaches for that, and those coaches will be ex-NFT football players within the game.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you definitely will be able to improve your players throughout like the seasons and years, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as a player plays in a game, they'll gain a little bit of experience. Their attributes will improve depending upon where they're being played. So for example, if you had a natural striker in your academy, and you start playing him in defense, over time he'll naturally become a defender, but you might not be getting like the peak.
It's not going to be fulfilling his potential.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think going back a step as well, it's like, what do you get with a club? Then the idea of having this academy, like all the players come via the club. And the idea there is like, as a club owner, you capture, or club owners capture basically all the value within the game, as much value as possible within the context of the game. Because it's not like all these players kind of added like from outside externally into the game. They come from within the game itself. And then they evolve within the game, and then they from players they become coaches, and these coaches can go back into the academy and kind of like help to kind of develop your next generation of talent.
That's cool. So will having a coach essentially work like player staking? You staking those NFTs to put them into roles within the club? Yeah. Awesome. And then
that's really cool.
Would there be a market for people to trade those coach roles, or those specific to your club as well?
Oh yeah, they'll be like everything. Well, all the NFT assets will be tradable.
Yeah.
So like you have complete ownership of the property rights of your coach, or you control your coach, and you can choose to trade them on. And for instance, you have like a whole bunch of goalkeeping coaches because you've had some great people from your academy. Then you can just kind of like arbitrage that with someone else who has worse like goalkeeping coaches, for instance.
Yeah.
But similar to players, like a football player in the game that's retired doesn't necessarily become a good coach overnight. You actually have to stake them as coaches, and over time they'll improve their coaching attributes as well. Sorry, the light's just gone off here. Instead of WeWork. I need to go and sit back on.
Just seems like the amount of value you're getting from owning a club is huge, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's all these different functions that you'll be able to do as a club owner. It's pretty much the vehicle by which you play the game. But
yeah, and I think from obviously me and Bob come from the Z-Run world where where the whole game is centered around utility and being able to do something with your NFTs. And yeah, I think Footium is exactly the same. I think you're not just purchasing a club, you're purchasing an NFT minting club. You've got all this academy players coming through, you've got all your coaches, etc. So I think it's very utility centric when in terms of NFTs, which is really cool. How big do you see this being in terms of like play to earn potential? So just like generally, like how do you envision this growing from here?
I think in terms of like play to earn, I guess is not a new thing. It's kind of like you have different types of players within the context of the game. You have the people who I guess are time rich, cash poor, and then people who are cash rich, time poor, whatever. And then these kind of different people. So if you have loads of time and want to make money, then you can sort of spend time kind of working the academy, working these functions within the game, and then you can operate as a manager. Someone like a club owner can delegate the managerial function to someone else. So you have this kind of like scholar dynamic similar to what Axie has.
Yeah.
Is that going to be part of the game straight away, or is that something that's going to be worked into it as time progresses?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Is that so? Like having like different functions within a club, is that going to be something that's built into the game immediately, or is that going to be something that's kind of built in as the game progresses down the road?
I mean, some of the functions that we discussed, like the majority, like the coaches, the players, the training, that's all stuff we want to get in for the full release of the game. But there's always going to be stuff we're going to be adding over time. And we want to have like a very community-driven approach. So we listen to the community, see what they want in the game, what's missing, and just continue building it out. Because like you said earlier, Football Manager, they've been going for 20 years, and they've like built a really awesome game. So that's what we want to do with Footium. We want to keep it going, keep improving it over time. And we don't want to just release it and say this is it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be certain aspects of that which are going to be difficult to change, like the play to earn mechanics. in the economy sense. Like, there's certain things that you set are going to be very difficult to change later on, but in terms of like the gameplay and the match simulations and all that, that's all going to improve over time.
Awesome. And I think specifically things like an assistant manager, is that going to be involved from the start of the game launch?
Yeah, exactly. That's something we're building into the game very soon as part of the beta tests. But yeah, definitely going to be in the game when it launches.
Awesome. And then moving on to quite a general question, but how is the beta going so far?
Yeah, it's going well. So we've started a league. We did a league of 7 to start with. That was just the core team that were playing it. And then we expanded that to 12 now. So we've got a few people playing it. And again, from that, it's mainly bugs that come out of that. So there's been a lot of bug fixing the last few weeks. Now moving on to improvements and then later features. So yeah, we're also hiring at the same time. So it's just trying to move very quickly now and want to get to that next phase where we can get more people involved. So yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome.
Every day the matches happen at 5 o'clock and we all tune in and get popcorn out, watch it, and see who wins.
But it's a nice way to end the day as well, like an evening game.
Yeah,
evening kickoff.
Yeah. My team beat
Awesome.
James today, so. Yeah.
How bad was it?
It was an unbelievable performance. 3-0 down, and then came back and won 4-3.
Oh wow!
Even stole one of our best strikers as well to Sam.
Yeah.
For a record fee of 10k in-game tokens. But yeah, the team are doing great.
Yeah, I preemptively celebrated, but unfortunately,
rookie mistake.
It was karma. That was bad.
Yeah.
How are you finding like the match engine currently in its current phase? Because I've been following. I know you made some tweaks, like too many goals and things like that. How's that kind of coming on?
Yeah, that's something we're looking at a bit more closely. So we've been looking at that and fixing some of the bugs there. At the moment, it's nowhere near where we want it to be. In terms of what we've got much bigger plans in terms of where we want the match engine to be. We want like a full scale 2D simulation, eventually moving to 3D towards the end of the year. But yeah, we're just fixing up bugs with that. There's still an issue with some high scoring games, and it's quite interesting. It's more of the balance between the attack and the defense. There's a lot of teams that have got like quite a high attacking rating. And it seems to be that because of how the attributes are structured with the players, they're more heavily weighted that way. And so all of the teams are quite attacking and they score lots of goals. And so
the current Footium meta basically is to be attacking. We're going to make it more balanced coming weeks.
James just plays all out attacking. He's one of the highest scoring teams in the league, I think, so far.
I don't think I'm at the top though, unfortunately. No, one from bottom.
Yeah, doesn't work.
No.
Awesome. So I think just taking a step back from that, so the game engine itself, has that been built completely from scratch, just completely custom, and a bit more maybe about your guys' background as well, like how did you two meet, and a bit of info on that if you won't mind.
Yeah, definitely. So everything's custom built from scratch. We wanted to very much try and build the game in a way that it could be potentially like fully decentralized in the future, where we could have like an open source game engine, almost like a layer 2 where it's just Footium, where it's just like Footium matches and simulations that are being played out, and it can all be independently verified. So we've started with that foundation and we've built it up from scratch with those principles. And so yeah, that's that. In terms of like how we met and how we started. So yeah, like I've had this idea for a number of years of creating a MMO football management game. And like I said before, it was coming across Ethereum and sticking that together with this idea that now you can have a proper MMO football management game with a real in-game economy where you can buy and sell players, on an open market. So yeah, I entered this idea as part of the Spark Hackathon, which is one of these Encode Club hackathons. Great organization. And just built out a very basic prototype as part of that. And James joined as well, so he was looking for a teammate for the hackathon. Joined the team, and so my background specifically is as a software engineer. So yeah, I just love coding. I love building stuff. Previously was working at an internet security company, just doing general maintaining and bug fixing. Also did a bit of work for a game dev company before. I did some game dev, and also some back-end network VR stuff a while back. But yeah, James has got a very different skill set to me. So he's more on like the economy and business side. So it worked quite well in that respect. And yeah, we just kept building out the game as sort of like a passion project, hobby project. We did a small accelerator, again with Encode, where we actually rebuilt. We took the game engine that we had, we built it on top of Algorand, and did like a small demo with that, and just kept building it out. And we got a bit more interest. Said, right, you guys are just gonna have to, like, there's something here. We can do something with this. So we closed a fundraising round, and now we're just going, full speed ahead. We've got like a team of 7 people now, which is really exciting. It's really great to work with them all, and just hiring now and growing everything out. It's an exciting experience.
That's amazing. It's great to hear the story as well behind it all.
Yeah, it's a really great narrative. No, so as Jordan mentioned, it was Jordan's idea for quite a while. So I studied I studied economics and management. However, I'm like also a self-taught software engineer. So I'm like, I'm not like a fantastic software engineer apart from kind of like crypto is this like an intersection of economics and computer science, and kind of entered it on the basis of kind of like liking those two types of things. And I'm really into the economics of sport. Like, it's such a multifaceted system. It's kind of like crazy how much money goes into these things. It's like how these football clubs like IPO'd and like sold shares and stuff. It's like some stuff that like I found really fascinating. And then kind of when I kind of looking for teammates, then the guy who kind of connected me, he was like, there are people doing X, Y, Z. And in this football game, I was like, that sounds brilliant. I'd love to work on that. And I kind of worked on that with Jordan. John's been out to me kind of like on the ropes, partially some of the software engineering stuff. And then kind of as it's kind of like moved and like further along, then we kind of been paying like more attention to the in-game economy side.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the vision for the game is in replicating this like real economy in the virtual world.
Yeah.
And kind of driving the same types of incentives that make football so compelling.
Yeah. I mean, I think game economies especially are extremely difficult to get right. We've seen a few. So, for instance, like the Axie model, you need that constant influx of new players to make that economy run. With Footium, how do you see like things like prize pool generation playing out to make it worthwhile for these clubs to reach those reach Division 1 essentially?
Yeah, I think so there's gonna be like various different ways that we can like generate revenue within the protocol. So as Jordan mentioned, like there's a signing fee associated with signing players. To upgrade your stadium, then there'll be kind of a fee associated. On the secondary market, there'll be a fee. And some of the kind of these ways the protocol generates revenue, that needs to be redistributed back to the prize pools. And they'll kind of be like reallocated so that these leagues will have more activity, kind of get rewarded correspondingly. And kind of like those in the top division where the fees are higher, they'll have like a higher corresponding prize pool. And then when we kind of execute on some of the sponsorship deals, then most of the sponsorship will accrue to the higher leagues. So it'll be like an asymmetry there.
Yeah.
And I think in a game like Footium, where people are legitimately excited to play the game and aren't just there to grind the play-to-earn aspect, then you have, like more clear types of players. You will have some people there for the play-to-earn for sure, but you'll also have people there who are passionate about winning the game. And I think some of the people passionate about winning the game are prepared to kind of put some money into the system, which can be captured by some of the play-to-earn people. So you have this kind of like sustainable dynamic where you have this kind of interaction between these two types of players. So maybe in like some other play-to-earn games where everyone's just there for grinding, no one's putting money in for the fun of it, then it's kind of like it's not like long-term sustainable.
Yeah.
But a game that's actually fun, then you can make a sustainable in-game economy.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the moving on from the passion that a lot of the players have, I think something that I've found extremely interesting is seeing all the Twitter profiles of all these clubs. I've got one myself. I know, Bob, you've started yours as well. But I think that is the proof of the pudding in terms of the passion that everyone has for the game. Everyone sees it as a direct correlation from real life football and want to replicate that. So I think that's great. What do you guys think about the all the Twitter profiles?
It was great. Like, I think what we thought with Web3, then you can drive this real ownership. So if you're using real world IP, then these narratives, these rivalries already exist. And if you take control of a club, you can't rewrite that. But we've kind of got this blank slate that we've seeded with kind of like small kind of points, like you have your badge, your name, I guess a little bit of lore and history, which isn't massive. You have your stadium, and kind of given these blank slates, then you have the power to write these stories and to create your own rivalries. I think if we kind of like gone down like a different route, then people wouldn't have this flexibility to feel like they actually owned these things. And like, because you actually own this, you have this private property, then your incentives are like truly aligned. You kind of like want to make the most of these assets.
Yeah, I think we just welcomed in one more to the Footium crew. Lucky Jack has just bought Watford Villa. Just going to bring it up on screen now. Congratulations, LJ.
Amazing. It's got the horse as well.
Yeah, he's picked that out, I think.
No coincidence.
No coincidence at all. That is
Division
8. Yeah. Good pick.
Really nice.
It's almost like combining Watford and Aston Villa.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to get a Villa one, but I couldn't find one that I liked.
Yeah, there probably was one that's very similar because you get the shield shapes on the badges and you get the lions.
Yeah.
If you get the right color combination, it might look kind of similar. I've noticed there's one that looks very similar to the Welsh FA badge.
So is
like
it?
The lion and the roundish sort of shield with the red and green.
Oh man,
I like the dragons as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the badges play a huge role. Like what we were talking about before, like you own that club, so you own like the IP and the Twitter profile. Like when I was picking out my club, that played such a huge role because you essentially building a brand around that, aren't you?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd love the idea of people to be able to like commercialize their club. And like creating much. Actually, I'm only wearing my Footium shirt. We're planning on like making it straightforward for people to kind of like get merch for their clubs with their badge, kind of like represent that. Like, well, I guess like we're trying to merge these kind of real life football kind of phenomena, like these rivalries with Web3. And kind of part of that is this kind of like fun, kind of like banter on social media, as well as like owning your physical merch.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider creating like an in-game kind of logo creator or something like that? Because I feel like it'd be awesome starting in Division 8. Like obviously the logos in Division 1 are like definitely superior. Like they're cleaner.
Yeah.
If you're going to move up through the ranks from Division 8 to Division 1, would you ever consider allowing teams to update their badges every like certain number of seasons or things like that if they're climbing the ranks?
Yeah, we haven't thought about the actual specific mechanics of that yet, but yeah, I totally agree. I really love the top 3 division badges. They're really clean, and it would be great to be able to expand that to all of the clubs in some way. But yeah, like a badge editor would be a really cool idea. And we could do that at the moment. Like you've got all the shields, you've got all the shapes, like some sort of way to toggle between them all and allow the user to change that. But yeah, no decision specifically on that, but we definitely do want to improve the badges.
Yeah. Still early days. It's all good. Just asking.
Yeah.
Awesome. What I'm going to do is ask the chat to get in any questions they want to hear, and I'll bring a few questions up for James and Jordan. If that's okay with you guys, we'll be on for about half an hour now. How much longer do you guys have?
No time limit, really.
Yeah,
Awesome.
happy to answer any questions.
Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, get your questions in the chat whilst we've got James and Jordan here. And yeah, I think we'll just keep talking Footium. I'm so excited for this project. It was Bob actually who introduced me to Footium. So
then it spread around Z pretty quick, didn't it?
yeah. What do you what do you guys think? Well, there's a big Z community now involved in Footium. How has that been for you guys? Because they're not traditional football fans in the same way that a lot of your community already were. So
I think the big appeal, just quickly, I think the big appeal for a lot of the Z fans and stuff is just because obviously Footium just takes real life football into Web3. The horse racing, like Z, has just done the exact same thing. So there's just a very clear parallel between the two that obviously has drawn everyone to them both.
Definitely, yeah. It was quite interesting. I feel like the influx of Z-Run folk into the Footium community all happened at once, and you saw the floor price of the clubs just went boom. Like, what's going on here? And lots of Z-Run people buying up Footium clubs, which is great to see. It's great to see all you guys getting involved.
Yeah, we're going to bring up a few questions from the chat now. We've got Legadzo7. Do you have any sponsors lined up already for the first season?
Ooh.
If you can't say, obviously, you don't have to
can't say who. Yeah, we're in conversation.
Yeah. We're here soon.
Yeah.
Soon TM.
Yeah. The Z community are very used to
We're aware
word
of this
soon.
one.
Word soon. Will the game launch before the animations from Joey Nicknames?
The animations. So like
I'm assuming this is the 2D simulator. So.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it'll launch before then. That's one of our longer term goals, more like Q3, Q4 this year. So we're going to start with the text-based match simulation and then keep growing it from there. So yeah, it'll launch before the animations.
Awesome. We've got Smoky Mountain Stables here asking about tactics and their impact on the results. So from my understanding right now, you pick your lineup and you pick your formation. Is there anything else you can pick in the game?
Not at the moment. Those are you pick your team, pick your formation, and your playing style, attacking, balance, defensive. That's our sort of starting blocks. But we're going to add loads of different what you'll be able to do in Football Manager. The light goes again. But yeah, no, you'll be able to have a lot of control over your team and that within the game.
Awesome. And then another point from being active in the Discord, I've seen putting players in certain positions. Is it green, yellow, and red that the position shows?
Yeah, green, yellow, and red. So like green, the players being played in their preferred position. Amber is more not optimal position, but they can still play there. Red, they're just being played completely out of position.
Yeah.
Similar to Football Manager, we were thinking of having like a sort of dark green as well in there. But yeah, those are the colours.
Awesome. We've got Brains asking when will the beta open up further? So what is the general plan for beta?
Yeah, so the plan at the moment, so we're just growing it in terms of like our team and close advisors, ironing out those key bugs. We've been drawing up because we ended up postponing the launch from Q1 to Q2. So we sort of reevaluated at the moment. We're reevaluating all the features that we want in. It's like in terms of opening it up, we'll open it up like next week after in terms of advisors, but opening up to the wider community, it might be sort of 3 or 4 weeks from now. But yeah, we're working on revising that clear timeline. But yeah, opening it up to the community and then just keep getting more and more people involved so we can run lots of different beta tests, different parameters, getting lots of feedback, and just iterating from there until feels like it's ready and then go for the launch.
Awesome. Got Andy in the chat asking, when an academy player joins, will they all be the same age? And is it 3 seasons before they go on the open market?
Yeah, so how we've programmed it at the minute, it's from 17 to 21. That might change a little bit, but yeah, they're all the same age. So the academy players are in cohorts of by birth year at the moment. But yeah, pretty much when you get those 10 new players, that's the 10 new players that come into the academy at that same age.
Yeah, and then they're in there.
Yeah,
they're in there for 3 years, and then you either, or is it when they reach 21?
Yeah, 21. So you either sign them at that point or they become a free agent.
Yeah, awesome. Got the golf enthusiast asking, at what age range will players start to decline in ability, and what age can we see players starting to think of retiring?
I think so age range players tend to be 25, 28. Apart from it doesn't really start to have the sharp cutoff starts early 30s. But it depends what position the players are playing as well. So if you're playing in defense, then you can then you have more staying power. So you might be a viable player until you're early 30s, mid 30s. But if you're playing an attacking mid, where having 2 lows of running and pace is a really important aspect of your play, then attributes like pace kind of decline from quite early on in the player's career. So you've tried to break these different positions down into a bunch of skills, and then figure out how does each skill change over time, and then then you have the chance potentially if you're a player which is great attacking mid, and then maybe they might be great as a defensive mid. So some players might carry on for ages. I don't know, like Ryan Giggs or something.
Yeah.
So it'll depend on the player for sure. Apart from most players will peak 25, 28.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, really. Just it is the replica of real life, isn't it? You see players like Petr Cech going till he's 38 in goal, because he's a goalkeeper. So yeah, all makes sense. We have got Eve's Ride asking, what factors went into the decision of 10 players in the academy per year? Was it a balance of retirement rate? Is there some way to prevent overpopulation of players?
Yeah, so not all players. So you only get for each academy cohort, a couple of players are going to be pretty good. Most are going to be okay, and then the rest will be probably not worth playing, to be honest. So you only get a couple of superstars per not superstars, particularly good players per cohort. And yeah, that was done for exactly that reason, to make sure there wasn't an overpopulation of players. So there's this kind of relative scarcity where there's after a few seasons you'll have a constant ratio of good players to number of clubs, and then this kind of prevents inflation within the game. And if there was kind of too much player inflation, then people who kind of had good players kind of it stops kind of it prevents frustration if there isn't too much unpredictability in that respect.
Yeah. I've got a question here about the academy as well. So right now, when you go into the market, you only purchasing by division. How strongly correlated is your academy to your starting division? And if you say get relegated a few years, does your academy drop with that relegation?
Yeah, so there'll be a factor there in terms of what division you're in and the quality of players that you're producing. But in real life, that's going to be analogous to sort of how attractive the club is to play for. If you're a top division club, you're going to want everyone who's going to want to train your academy and play for that club eventually. But that doesn't necessarily substitute for how the owner of the club is going to develop that academy moving forwards in terms of upgrading facilities potentially, or staking players, employing the right coaches to then improve the yield of the academy. So yeah, at first it will be correlated based upon division, but it won't be. That's not going to last forever, right? Just because you're a top division club doesn't mean you now have the rights to print all the players, print all the best players. So yeah, it's about investing into your academy as well as what division you're in.
So your division kind of signals kind of the prestige of your club, and you will attract better academy graduates. But as John said, it depends on a bunch of other factors as well.
Awesome. got a good question here from Bamontes. What type of things do we need to discover about our players versus things that are clearly displayed to us, skills, abilities, and hidden traits, etc.?
So things that you need to discover are more going to be the sort of mental attributes of the players. So the sort of physical attributes and the skill levels are going to be more or less available. You'll be able to see that. But things like the players' sort of mental strength and sort of what's the right word? Like their my brain's just gone blank.
I think it's on the site.
Yeah.
So on here we've got the hidden attributes here. So mental fortitude and resilience and things like that.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. So there you go. Bamontes is a nice rundown on the site. I've got a question about the art for the players. I absolutely love it. I think it looks awesome.
It's sick. Yeah. It's really unique.
Yeah, it's really unique. Are these all going to be different? Are they all going to be randomly generated for each player?
Yeah, exactly. So the artwork for the players themselves are all going to be randomly generated. So similar to the badges, set of components you stitch together, and each player will look unique. You've probably seen some of the prototypes from the beta in there at the moment, which we're going to dramatically improve. But going forwards with that, the legendary players, which are like the ones that you see here, have got a unique. They're going to be like bespokely designed by an artist, and these specifically look different to the other ones. So like the normal generated players that come through your academy are just the ones that are facing forwards, but the legends are all going to be sort of like looking off to the stars, like this guy here, Alberto Gomez. So these are going to be super rare and have unique arts. That's actually bespokely designed, not just generated.
That's awesome. So I think we've covered LJ's question in the chat there as well, the variants on new academy players. Brains is asking about these legendary players. When they're auctioned, are we going to be able to see their age, position, and stats, or will it be essentially a random mint of a legendary player?
Current idea at the moment is that you'll be able to see the name, you'll be able to see the card, the stats, etc. You're not going to be just buying a lottery ticket.
Awesome. And we've got Eves Ride asking, what do you expect to see from the legendary player sales each year and their effect on the club that buys them?
I think James can fill in on this one.
So we're planning to use legendary player sales to kind of like boost the prize pools as well, and that's like one of the kind of more predictable ways that we can generate revenue to make it like meaningful for people to want to kind of like scale the divisions, get to the high divisions, and what the effect on the club. So the plan is it's still a game of strategy, and you want your kind of all your players to be a cohesive unit, and you can't just add in a great player and for them to just like completely change your team's performance given that one player. So you have to kind of like make sure that's how you football manager, your teams have to work together to practice a tactic. When they kind of the more they play together, the more familiarity they get. So they will kind of like be disproportionately good, apart from it's not going to be some like crazy non-linear effect where you can now win the league because you have bought this one player. Like it still relies on kind of your thinking about this team as a bunch of individuals working together.
I think one of the interesting things I've seen, not sure where I saw it, but in the future, is there potential for these to be actual real life players ported into the game?
Potentially. I mean, the possibilities are infinite.
There's like a scope to introduce kind of like real world players, and then kind of the tricky question here is like, how do you keep them balanced? Because they probably can't age at the same rate as a Footium player.
True. Yeah. Yeah, they've got to exist in the game for a long time, haven't they?
We were thinking about having potentially like real world players as almost like mentors or like ambassadors for a club. So you'd be able to get like a real world player, and maybe you could stake them in your club as like a mentor or something. And again, that further improves the yield of your academy. But those are all ideas at the moment.
Could you get like legendary coaches or things like that?
Yeah, I mean that's like the Jimmy McKinnon one there, which is a legendary coach on the website. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Andy is asking, will it cost anything to train players?
No, not at the moment. There's no cost associated with training players.
Awesome.
Yes, but I guess the only cost you could think of is like, so you're playing your player. Your like players only have so much training per week, and you have to think about the trade-off. So like, imagine you can either like have them training their fitness or training their tactic or training a skill, and you can have to balance off to find out what do you think is the kind of like optimum kind of what's the optimum thing for your players to train. So there's no like cost. It's more like the idea of opportunity cost. So it's like you have to make a strategic decision.
Yeah, I've got quite a general question here. So the current league system has 3,000 teams roughly in there, and obviously like the Zedrun community have come and the floors become quite high relatively to what it was. Do you have any future plans of being able to have maybe a free-to-play side to the game, or a further expansion of the main league system?
Yeah, potentially. I think the free-to-play one is an interesting one, and that's something we can definitely do. And especially with this idea of open sourcing the game as well, the game engine at some point. So there's the huge potential for there to be the free-to-play version. In terms of actually expanding the leagues, there's going to be, our thoughts there are like what we said before, which was having different leagues on different chains. But again, it all depends upon the community and what they think. We're not going to add like a Division 9 and Division 10 unless that's something that people actually want. But yeah, we want to make sure that people can get involved and play the game.
Awesome. We've got a question here from Smoky Mountain. Will club level affect development? Can a great 19-year-old develop in League 8, or does he need a higher league to reach their potential?
Yeah, I mean, there's a potential of a player in League 8 who has like a lot of potential. So that hidden score there, potential could be, for their age, they could be a great player. But in order to reach the potential, they would have to then train with either having the best coaches, or getting that in-game experience of playing against the best teams, playing in the best teams higher up the leagues.
Currently in kind of the match engine, how much a player's kind of experience increases depends upon the quality of their opposition. That's something, we'd like to kind of have in the main game.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. And I think, I just want to say thanks for coming on as well. I think we're probably out of questions there. Bob, have you got any questions for the guys?
No, I mean, I'm not sure if you've already answered this or not. It's kind of touching on the last question. Can a Division 8 team pull a really good academy player? Is that going to be something that's potentially possible?
Yeah, definitely. There's always that probability that by chance you're going to have a good player in your academy. Again, for them to reach the full potential, they might have to play in the higher divisions. They might have to play against better opposition. But there's no reason why a Division 8 club might get a really good, talented academy player and be a real force in that league, get promoted to Division 7, Division 6, and start moving up, or sell that player to a club in a higher division where they are going to be able to reach the potential, and that club will then receive a nice fee for that. So yeah, definitely.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love that.
Awesome. And I mean, I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time, and I'm just really excited and looking forward to it. I think the game itself just makes, as someone who loves NFTs, crypto, and that kind of thing, and also loves football, it's a match made in heaven for me. I'm just really excited to get going with it. It's great to chat to both of you as well. Hear about how it all started, the journey, where we're up to now, and what it's going to look like in the future. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you guys for both coming on.
Yeah,
I think
much
it's gonna-
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think it's going to be really cool. I think a lot of I think it's going to be a lot of like it's going to be a bit of a gateway for a lot of people moving from Web 2 into Web 3, because I know like I'm going to be getting my brothers and stuff involved like with the team and things like that, and it's going to be really cool being able to show people what Web 3 can do.
Yeah,
And this is the perfect way of doing it.
My sister now owns a team because her and her boyfriend wanted to get involved in NFTs, and I was like, this is perfect for your boyfriend. This is everything you'd ever want in an NFT. So they're now proud owners of a Division 6 team. So they're
Fantastic. Good division as well.
Very good.
yeah. She swindled me on the price, but
She did.
yeah. But yeah, a lot of appreciation in the chat as well for you guys coming on. Yeah, anytime, whenever you guys are available, we'd love to keep chatting as we progress through to that game launch.
Definitely, yeah. It's been great being on. Much appreciate it, and yeah, super excited to get you guys involved. Get the community playing it. We really want to get this game. We want it to be a community-driven game. Get people playing it as soon as possible, and yeah, get it released. It's going to be really exciting.
Awesome. Sweet. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining in the chat as well, and thank you for your questions at the end. We will be uploading this to YouTube as well, so if you did join in halfway through or you want a recap, you'll be able to catch it on YouTube as well. But yeah, just want to say thank you again, and thanks everyone in chat for joining as well.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Cheers
everyone.
Cheers, Bob.
See you.
Cheers.
See you guys. Nice
Bye.
meeting you.